good evening all, myself Manasa and I'm a Gmat expert here at Leverage Edu. So today's session is a very interesting session as we are going to discuss a different topic, that is how to ace the IR questions in Gmat. Hope you all are really excited to hear something from me, right? Basically because very rare cases we see webinar on IR questions, right? First thing to start with is let's understand the test structure of Gmat. So there'll be four sections that would be tested in Gmat. One is the writing section, and then the quantitative reasoning section, and then the verbal section, at the end the integrated reasoning section. So speaking about this writing section, it is of 30 minutes. There'll be one question type which speaks about analysis of an argument when the score ranges from 0 to 6 points. Integrated reasoning section, again, of 30 minutes to answer 12 questions. These are the four question types when the score ranges from 1 to 8 points. And the QR section, 62 minutes, you will have to solve 31 questions. The question types are the data sufficiency and problem solving, and the scale ranges from 6 to 51 points. Whereas the verbal reasoning section, 65 minutes to answer the 36 questions. And these are the three question types that you need to nail in that 65 minutes when the score ranges from 6 to 51 points. Now, what is it overall I'm going to actually highlight in this today's session and explain in brief is what actually is IR in Gmat, and is really that IR score included in Gmat? What is the purpose of it of its inclusion in Gmat? What is IR, and how actually it is going to affect your composite score, that is the overall 800 score. How is this Gmat integrated reasoning actually different from your quant and verbal sections? Understanding the types of questions, some tips and strategies to solve the IR questions. Now, what basically IR is? Okay. So first thing is that it's not computer adaptive like just the quantitative reasoning section. Okay, or the verbal reasoning section. It does not actually count towards your 800 score. It's just like a separate score, like you see the hour score coming right at the end of your exam, the same way. And there's no partial credits in case if one question has 3 statements listed, among which if you're solving only one right, but the remaining 2 are wrong, no partial credits will be given. Questions correct only will give you a credit to that question. Always it is scaled upon a score of 8, as I told you in the introduction point. Okay, and every month this percentile ranking will be reported on the data which is collected from each set of the test takers that have taken the test in that month. Good thing about IR is that, though the problem, that is quantitative reasoning section, will not give you a calculator, on-screen calculator, but IR does. So what happens here? You actually see some things like 0.738 billions or millions, something as such, and you will have to divide that by some weird number called 1.25% and something as such. Okay, so you all see, where do you see all these cases? We all see these cases in a real world data. On the regular quant section, what happens is this doesn't come out because regular quant section is quite different. It does something different. But in IR, testing a different kind of questions will be taking the questions from the real-time case-based studies in which this type of weird calculations comes up. So he doesn't want to trouble the students with the calculation part. He will definitely give you an on-screen calculator. So this is all the main, I can tell, like the main purpose of this IR section is to be more realistic in terms of your numbers. It would that you everyone would actually use in business or in the B schools. So what is the main purpose of IR in Gmat? As discussed now. So some types of different skills are being tested from IR. So obviously the purpose is somewhat different. So what do they actually measure? So most of the B schools use this case studies to teach some, some likely events that will happen in our real-time situations. These cases are basically very true, or they might be the histories of some difficult business situations. They basically includes some vast amounts of real information, both quantitative and verbal that you will have to sort through and analyze to glean the insights and make decisions. This IR puts some new unique focus on this real aspects. So you will have to do some critical thinking here. Likewise, like real world data in excess quantity, which is actually given in your Gmat questions, has to be sorted in a smarter way, wherein that gives something that parameter will actually differentiate you from the student who is actually unable to analyze such business real world cases, right? In contrast to this actual quantitative section, what happens is IR gives you some giant tables of ugly numbers, many of which you will never compute with. You might have not seen actually. So only that I told like earlier, there's a on-screen calculator, right? And you will need to use that on-screen calculator to save your time as you basically you crunch with that messy decimals and all. Right. So this basically gives what happens to the B schools is that they do some mini case analysis of this Gmat. So for which they are going to use this IR score. So it might seem that admission officers would pay some particular attention to that score, which is a different one seen on your score sheet. Two things that you will have to remember, students. IR is brand new, and it is as I told, it is a 30 minutes long. So we will have to believe that significant period of this time at minimum will measure your performance on the standard of quant and verbal sections, which is substantially very important than your performance, right, in the other sections. So facts of this IR, as I told, like graded upon a score of 1 to 8 points. No partial credits, like, sometimes a question will be given 3 statements under one question. All statements has to be marked right. No partial credits for the partial answers being right. IR score depends on the number of questions answered correctly, as there is no what I told us adaptivity in this section. It all depends only on the number of questions you answer right. And it's an additional data point that you can add it to showcase yourself in front of your B school admission officers. So it will really unaffect your other scores. But end of the day, what do you see on your score repeaters? All these 5 scores: quant, verbal, IR, AVA, and integrated reasoning. Now, how do you think that Gmat integrated reasoning is different from your verbal scores? So I already told you. So it is quite different one. It actually measures a different business skills in form of some data interpretation question types. So probably that will actually highlight your score report, because most of the B schools think in terms of whether a student is able to solve the real-time cases, or whether the student is able to solve the critical business situations. So all those real cases are dumped over here in terms of questions. So this is a kind of different exam overall. Now, what are the types of questions basically you get in Gmat IR section? First, as I told, graphical interpretation that I discussed earlier. Other forms of the IR questions are a table will be given wherein you need to analyze the table given, and then you need to collect the data necessary after reading the question correctly, or after reading the question properly. Okay. Next one is 2-part analysis type question, and the 4th one is multi-source reasoning type questions. I would discuss in detail about all these questions with examples. So the format over here is this. So multi-source reasoning section. So what happens, to answer the question, you will be given multiple sources. So you need to click on this every tab and read the source information clearly, understand it properly. Because once you go to the question after reading the source information, you should have that mapping, okay, knowledge, like what is that source giving you information related to that particular question. Okay, this is an interactive type of question, because we need to go through the tabs, and we need to do some job on the source information. Next one is table analysis. So this way the data comes. For this table analysis, what happens is, for every column. Okay, upon the every title in that column, there will be a sort by option, which will actually sort the data either in ascending order or in descending order. Why this is required? Basically because most of the questions in table analysis depends upon sorting. Probably he might ask what is difference between the highest value of particular category and the lowest value of particular category, or what is the median value of this particular category, something as such. Okay, so in that cases you will need to have the sorted data, and it's there's no option of moving these blocks. So there is an option of what is given over here is sort by. Do you want to sort by from in an ascending manner or in a descending manner? Just to click on this, you get those options. Accordingly, they will get sorted automatically. Next one is a graphical interpretation one. So this is just static because we cannot actually play with any source information. We just need to observe clearly what is the source information. Accordingly, we need to solve the question by picking the data from the source information. And two-part analysis is a source information will be given, under which the question will be divided into two parts. Okay, so only it is called as two-part analysis, and this is pure static again because we cannot do any edit or we cannot change the source information. Now there are different types of responses that we can mark upon. The first one is traditional multiple choice that we usually see in our schooling as well. A multiple choice given, some options listed. So one of the 5 options will be the right one. This is a usual question. Next one is either or statements. So as I told you just now, no partial credit there, wherein I told you, a question and 3 statements will be given. All the 3 statements has to be right in order to get a credit. So you answer one statement right, 2 or wrong, you will not get a credit for the one what you got it right. So this way it happens. Statement 1, this or this. Statement 2, this or this. Statement 3, this or this. All these 3 has to be right. Next one, it would be something like drop down statements. You will need to answer using the drop down statements, drop down menus. So you got a question about, and the answer to these questions is given in the format wherein you will have to click on the drop downs to select the right answer. This is 2-part question, as I was telling, 2 questions, and the answers for each of these 2 questions is listed here. For this, one thing you will have to remember, students, is that there will be only one right answer column wise and one right answer row wise. So this cannot be answered to both of these questions. Hope you understood this, right? Column wise, horizontal wise, there will be only one right answer. And in this also, there will be no partial credit. Either of this, no partial credit. All the 2 questions has to be right here, and all the 2 questions has to be right here. Getting either of them right, no credits. Hope this is clear. Now prompts, these are called multi-source reasoning way. You might get 2 different types of prompts. Probably you might get this way or you might get this way. So a question might include different variants of prompts. Similarly in table analysis also, it's not fixed to only one prompt. It can use different prompts. So we already discussed all this, right? So this way the questions might ask you to answer it. Even for the 2-part analysis I just discussed. So 2 prompts, only 1 prompt is allowed per column. Now we are going into the actual things now. So which is how to work with the IR questions. So the first thing is that given over here, which speaks about the 2-part analysis. So it states 2 water storage tanks A and B can each hold more than 20,000 liters of water. Currently, what happened over here is that tank A contains 5,000 liters of water and tank B contains 8,000 liters of water. Each tank is being filled at a constant rate such that in 15 hours, the 2 tanks will contain the same amount of water, though neither will become full. In such cases, what is he asking for? This is called the question, students. Now, what is he asking for? Identify the rates of filling for each tank that are together consisting with the that are together consistent with the information. This is the information, they have to satisfy the information. So you will have to make only one selection in each column, right? So what is that he's asking for? Rate of tank A and rate of tank B. These are the two questions now we need to answer. Okay, now let's start solving. So what is the information so far we have? We have that storage is equivalent to 2000. What else we have? Tank A capacity is equivalent to 5000 liters. Tank B capacity is equivalent to 8000 liters. Now, each tank is being filled at constant rate. That means the rate of the taps is not variable. It is constant. Let us take rate of tank A is RA and for this is RB. Now, what is given? Let us see. Okay, so this is what the information from the question so far. And one other extra information given over here is that in 15 hours, the two tanks will be containing the same amount of water. So 15 hours, same quantities in both tank A and tank B. Now let us solve the question. So as we know that in 15 hours, both are becoming equal. Okay, initially they have something in tank A. In 15 hours, let us take in tank A, some job is done which is called A in 15 hours. This is given as equivalent to B initial value plus B in 15 hours. Now basically, what is this A initial can be compared with water? Amount of water. What basically this is called as the work done by the taps, right? So it is nothing but indirectly speaking about work concept here. Now, what basically work means? It is rate into time. Already we know what is the initial quantity given in the question, which is 5000. Now, in 15 hours, what will be the work? Rate of A, rate into time is 15. This will be equivalent to B initial value is 8000 plus rate of B into 15. Now, what do you see here? 15 into RA, 15 into RB, and the question is speaking about difference between the rates, so we can group them together. That becomes RA 15 taken as factor out, so minus RB, which will be equivalent to 8000 minus 5000. Therefore, the difference between these rates will be equivalent to 3000 divided by 15, which is nothing but 200. Now we got in the that relation between RA and RB is that RA minus RB is 200. This is what the calculation point we got. But what directly the question is asking for? Rate of tank A and rate of tank B. So difference between them is 200. Let's see which options will actually match with that given with that whatever the point of conclusion we got it from the question. So we see options 30. So there should be 230, not there. 90, 290. Yes, it is. So therefore, for tank A, filling rate is 290 and for tank B, the filling rate is 19. I hope this is clear, right? Then going with the next question. Suppose in case, what happens? So sometimes we don't see variables in the questions and we see what all is numbers that are to be answered for the questions displayed. Okay. So in that case, what we can do is we can take the help of this numbers to answer the question. Now, this is one question that is speaking something as such. The town of the Clarksville currently employs police officers and firefighters. Clarksville wishes to increase the size of the police force by 25% while reducing the number of firefighters by 37.5% so that it employs an equal number of police officers and firefighters. I hope you got the situation. Increase the police by 25%, right? And decreasing the firefighters by 37.5% so that these two becomes equal. Now let us do something as such. Now, so what is the options actually denoting? This is what the question tells, right? It is denoting the value of the number of police officers and the value of the firefighters which are currently employed. So now this is question 1 and this is question 2. As we know one thing here, students, that police officers has to be increased, firefighters has to be decreased. That means police officers has to start from a small value and firefighters has to start from a bigger value, which clearly tells that firefighters cannot be this 9 and police officers cannot be this 56 rather, right? Now let's do something as such. So police officers has to increase by 25%, which clearly tells that they will have to increase by 1/4 value. What is this 37.5 then? 37.5% as it is very weird. Let's convert into a comfortable format. 375 divided by 100 times of 10, which goes to let's split more. 5 into 75 divided by 100 times of 10. 25 3s, 25 4s, 5 1s, 5 2s. That means the change is by 3/8 value. So decrease by 3/8 value. And this is addition by 1/4 value. Okay, now let's start off. So now police officers has to increase by 25%. So let's start with this. Now 16, when increased by 1/4 of 16, it is how much? 20. Now let's start off one value over here. So 56 when decreased with 3/8 value. So no mapping, this can never be 20. Now if I start something 32 when decreased with 3/8 value of it, 4 times 12, yeah, it goes here. That means what's happening, see. So these two are matching now. That is what the conclusion of the question as well, wherein this data becomes equal. So now what is it we can mark? This one over here and this one over here. This is how we can plug in the answers back into the question whenever you see some condition is given in the question. I hope this is clear. This is another technique you can use. As we are seeing like earlier, when variables are involved, try to plug in for the variables, and when the numbers are given, try to take the advantage of the numbers and then start working. Some point in time, you will meet the target, which will definitely be there in that question. So once you meet the target, just stop working. I hope this is clear, right? Now, let's move on to a different type of question, table analysis question. So here you see one question, one source information, but 3 statements. So for table analysis, what did I teach was you will have to use the option of sorting, which will sort the data either in ascending order or in descending order, right? So now let's go on. So this table is actually giving you statistics of 6 different luxury cars. Now this is all the model of the cars, and these are the different parameters for whose values are listed for different models of cars. Now you will have to select either yes or no for each statement. The first one telling the car with the least horsepower also takes more time to accelerate. Now what is the least value in the horsepower? This one. This is the car. Is it taking more time to accelerate among all this? Yes, it is. So therefore, we will tick mark on the yes. Next one. If the car weight of 4A was reduced, then its high fuel economy will increase. That means he is clearly telling that this is indirect relation between these two things. That is the curve weight as well as the economy. Now let's go on to those two columns, curve weight and the economy. Now see, if it is 3609, the economy is given as 26. Now it is increased, it is 27. Increased further, it is 29. Increased further, again drop. That means we don't see a proper trend here, but he clearly tells what it is. He's asking for, is there something as indirect relation between those two? So definitely it is no. Now next one, for each of this car listed, horsepower increases, acceleration gets faster. That means it increases. Means direct relation, right? Horsepower 237.1, 204, which is reduced, but acceleration increased. Okay, let's see. So that means for small value it is big, for big value it is small. Let's move on. And 211, 6.3. Again, what do you say? Stop here. Because we see again what the trend is missing here, right? We couldn't tell what happens when this increases, then what is happening to the other one. How is the other being affected? So that means we can clearly tell no to this question. This way, the table analysis might use this type of format for answering the questions, this type of prompt, right? So what I told, no partial credits. That means all the three statements has to be right in order to get a credit. You get one correct, no credits to whatever you have got as one right, because already two are wrong. Now, this is a usual chart that you see, right? A pie chart given, and we all know that pie chart, what happens here is angular distribution will be done for the data. Something as such here, 2000 level population, which is given for 25 years or over. And this is categorized for different fields wherein they occupy either graduation or professional degree, or they occupy for less than 9th grade or 9th to 12th grade, or high school, or some college, or bachelor's degree or associate degree. This is how the data is being splitted. Now, what is the question asking for? Let us look. So the percentage of the population aged 25 years and over that did not have a bachelor's degree or the professional degree, did not have, but we are having the data of what they have. So he's asking something that is negating the source information. So in such case, how do we need to work? From total, if I subtract this bachelor's plus this grad or professor degree, I will get what is the question asking for. This is one and this data is one. Okay, so we know total is basically 100% data, from which I need to subtract the bachelor's degree, which is 17% data, plus this grad or the professional degree, which is going to 10%. That means from this 100%, I remove the 27%, which is 73%. So as you click on this drop down menu, there will be an option 73, just to select on that, then your question answering gets done. So I hope this is clear, right? Already we have seen this kind of prompt. Now, next one is a mixed category type of data interpretation question, like a bar mixed with a line graph, something as such I have taken over here. So let's go to the question. So the table, once you, how to start reading the graph, basically students, always you need to start from the title. So what is the title telling here? The traffic double in axis bar, which is given double axis bar. So companies X sales and traffic from the year 2000 to 2010. Wherein you see the horizontal axis is speaking about a year, which is same for both of this data, sales and the traffic. Wherein this is denoting the traffic in terms of million, this is denoting the sales in terms of dollar million, right? So now the question here, the graph shows the total sales for company X and its traffic in millions of unique visitors for the years 2000 to 2010. From each of these drop-down menus, select the option that creates most accurate statements based on the information provided. Now, these are the two questions. What is it? The first one telling the percent decrease in the total sales from 2007 to 2009 was approximately how much? So the trigger over here is percentage decrease. This is one calculation involved here. So basically, whatever it is, percent change, might be percent increase, percent decrease, whatever it is. How do we calculate? We first find out the difference divided by what is the initial value into 100. So now let's go to what it's speaking about, 2007 and 2009. Let's go there. So 2007 data, so goes to around how many dollar millions is 19 minus, and 2009 we go there, so it goes to somewhere around 8 divided by overall initial is 19 into 100. So this goes to somewhere around 11 by 9 times of 100. So as you see a show calculator symbol over here, just click on that, drop this data there. Okay, and you on the calculator you will have a transfer button, you can click on transfer, it gets over here. Otherwise, in case wherein you have options to be selected, then click on this drop down menu, whichever best suits with this answer, just select that one. Now, what is the next question asking for? The amount of dollar sales per unique visitors increased by approximately from how much? From 2002 to 2007. So what is he clearly asking for? Amount of dollar sales per unique visitor. That means asking for total sales out of total traffic. So now let's go there. So for this 2002, let's go there. How much is the total sales? Is 6 divided by total traffic for the same 2002 is nearly 12. So it is how much? 1 by 2, which is 0.5. So click on the select, again select the option 0.5. Hope this is clear. Again, there will be no partial credits. 2 questions has to be right over here. Now, a very lengthy question. Probably when the question is very lengthy, one thing is for sure, students, he might insert some redundant information over there. Let's see if something as such is over here to minimize the pieces of information required for us to solve the question. Okay, let's go on with the question. For a particular custom basketball game, a player receives a personal warning upon accumulating at least 3 fouls within any 2-minute quarter and complete rejection from the court upon accumulating 5 such fouls at any time during 48-minute game. For any single 48-minute game, missing between 2 minutes and 4 minutes of playtime counts as 1/3 of the absence. Missing between 4 to 10 of playtime counts as half of absence. Missing more than 10 minutes counts as full absence. However, a basketball player may postpone playtime to make up for up to 3 minutes of unexcused absence at another time. Now let's see what is it actually telling. The table contains description of the unexcused absences of 5 players of a particular custom basketball game. Assume that in each case, the basketball player had no other unexcused absences. That means this is all redundant for us now, not at all required, and made up no other time. In the table, select a description of a basketball player who qualified for a personal warning but not for a complete rejection, and select a description of a basketball player who qualified for a complete rejection. Make 2 columns, 1 in each column. So personal warning and complete rejection is what we need to calculate. Just before that, try to write some scratch to understand some number data given here. Here clearly given is that personal warning is at least means greater than or equal to 3 fouls in 12 minutes per quarter. That means you should not get 3 or more fouls in a 12-minute, which is considered to be 1 quarter. Complete rejection. 5 fouls together in 4 quarters. That means 48 minutes. As we know, 1 quarter is 12 minutes. So 4 quarters is 48-minute game. So total game is of 48 minutes. That is what he wanted to do. Now, chalo. Now let's move on. Going with the first option. Fouled once in the first quarter. So Q1 is 1. None in the second quarter. And twice in the third quarter. And once in the fourth quarter. So 1, 2, 4, 5. Overall, it's coming to how much is 4. Once in the fourth quarter and twice in the third quarter and none in the second quarter and 1 in the this one. So 1 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1. Overall, you're getting 4 fouls. So this 4 fouls, what does it tell? In the overall game, you will be eligible for, you will be rejected if you are having 5 fouls in the 4 quarters, right? And individual quarter description tells that greater than or equal to 3. Neither of them is being satisfied with the statements. So definitely it's not a personal warning or it's not a complete ejection. Now next one. None in the first quarter. None in the second quarter. Twice in the third quarter. Twice in the fourth quarter. So again, it is what? Overall 0 plus 0 plus 2 plus 2, which is again 4. It is something which is very similar to the previous case. So it's neither a personal warning nor a complete rejection. Next one, first quarter is none, second quarter is none, third quarter is none, fourth quarter is 4. So now total it is 4, agreed. So it is not a rejection for sure. But one thing we know, in particular with the quarters, at least 3 is called as a personal warning. As in this fourth quarter alone, he had 4 fouls, which is matching with this condition. That means there is a possibility for him to get a personal warning. He cannot be ejected. Now we need to work just only for a complete ejection, as already we got an answer for personal warning. This one, foul twice in the first quarter, once in the second quarter, once in the third quarter, and none in the fourth quarter. So it's again what? 2 plus 1 plus 1, which is 4. So this doesn't match any of the criteria. Neither the anyhow personal warning is completed. The complete rejection needs what? 5 in the overall 48-minute duration of play. So this is not. Definitely who has to be the answer then? The last one, need not check, because one column, one answer is definitely needed. Right. So even the question data might seems to be too wordy, students. Definitely there is a there will be some cases wherein redundant information will add too much of weight to the pieces of information. After reading the question carefully, identify what is the redundant information, ignore that pieces, concentrate only on the pieces which is really required for us to solve the question. Right. Now, main point. So where do you actually practice this IR questions from? So there's one website, student, that is gmat.willy.com. And also you might have seen Gmat, Pell, Magoosh, and so on. But officially gmat.willy.com is the best source for practice for the IR questions. For accessing the questions in willy.com, you need to have a code, for wherein the code will be given at the end of your official guide. You need to create an account and then type the code over there to access the willy.com questions. Good thing about willy.com is that it even gives you the problem solving and data sufficiency questions practice with timing. So there you can practice even PS and DS as well. So some success stories, students, that within a short span of time, how the student's journey went on. So it's like 570 started the journey with, and then ended up with 730 in only 1 month and 1 week. So this is all his scores. See, he got a score of 8, perfect score in integrated reasoning, leading to a percentile of 9. So definitely his profile will be somewhat unique when the admission head has to compare the profiles, wherein the scores are matching. This might make a difference. Another student, 740, integrated with 6, lead to a percentile of 66. So what is the conclusion we can see from these two? Gmat is achievable, but what we need at the end of the day, probably math is not a difficult point in Gmat, but some tips and strategies definitely required. How to solve the questions in a different way, how to save our time, that is how the time management can be learned, and how the scratch work has to be maintained. So all these are few things that definitely required to actually get the right answer in right time. Though we know that 31 questions to be answered in 62 minutes, average timing is 2 minutes per question. We cannot take every question to solve it in 2 minutes. Why? Basically what happens, sometimes as you are progressing, you might get good level of difficulties later, good level of difficulty questions later. In such cases, probably you need more than average time to solve the question. So you will have to cut short the time wherever possible. Save your time to adjust that time somewhere. Whenever you reach a good level of difficulty question, you can use it there. So definitely, for which, yes, we need to do some different thing to get the answer, cut short the time wherever possible. That is what we need to learn inside the classrooms. So you can always reach out to our students. Everyone take a screenshot of this pre-inquiry at leverageedu.com and amitanshu.kumar at leverageedu.com, who is a very friendly person. He will definitely like to answer all your queries. And these are the point of contacts at our Leverage Edu team, admission coaches. So you can even reach them. They'll be very helpful. So they will give you all the information related to the course. And also for this, this is one offer going on only for the webinar attended students, is that you can avail a discount of 15% for attending our Leverage Edu classes. And students, so you feel that you need an experience how the Leverage Edu classes goes on. So what you can do is just go to live.leverageedu.com. Then you can actually click on book a demo. Then you can see the slots there. Click on whatever the slot you're available. Just book your slot for a demo. Once you're satisfied, yes, you can take the leverage classes ahead. So thank you all. So I hope I have cleared most of your doubts, students. Probably we might do more interesting sessions in the next coming webinars, for which you'll be getting the information like you have got it today. So thanks all. Bye. Take care. Stay safe and all the best.